Of course, it's another reading from the Science of Mind magazine, the Daily Guides. All I can say is with the reading, hang in until later on because things will start to make sense. They might not make sense at first. However, as you get more into the reading, it will start to make sense. How about that? And then I got a few comments of my own which are in line with the reading. And by the way, if you live in this part of the world, Southeast Texas, right now, it is gorgeous out there. We had quite a bit of rain last night, thunder, lightning, all the rest of it. And then today, the weather has just been gorgeous. If it was like this all year round, it would be probably even more overcrowded than it is right now. So, Divine Right Action, that's the title of today's reading. And you may be wondering, what on earth is Divine Right Action? Well, hang in there and all will be revealed. In Ernest Holmes' Words That Heal Today, on page 62, he says, the treasure of life is always buried deep within our being. The treasure of life is always buried deep within our being. And before you try to figure out what that means, let's move on because, as I said, all will be revealed. Right action is success in all that I undertake to do. Right action is success in all that I undertake to do. That's from the Science of Mind textbook on page 263. And once again, hang in there because it's not quite what it seems. And this is Reverend Margaret speaking. She says, in my early years as a student of metaphysics, there used to be a term called divine right action that was widely used by many when engaging in what was called, and still is, spiritual mind treatment. He says, for a time, I used to think it was a catch-all phrase that people used when they did not know what they wanted to experience. It was simple. Put the treatment or prayer in play and then release it into mind as divine right action. He says, I know differently now. I've come to revere this fine grouping of words as a call on the vastness of the infinite mind. Since the mind of God has within it all that we could possibly want or need, why not let this great center provide the best action, the best possible outcome as an answer to our prayer? To go to divine right action indicates our trust in infinite intelligence, that it will provide the best form for any situation, often something entirely different than anything that we considered. When things are difficult and the way before us is not clear, how settling is it to know that invoking divine right action allows the mind of God, the divine, the all, choose your own word, which knows us as part of itself, to provide a solution that best serves our purposes. It makes you want to trust every prayer to the love and wisdom of divine right action, doesn't it? So, in other words, there is a mind greater than ours that can see way beyond what we can see and can see the outcome that serves us best. And there's a few ways to actually do this. I remember when I was learning about affirmations that I was taught that at the end of every affirmation to say this or something better, this or something better. And that's kind of along those same lines. So instead of saying, I want this outcome exactly, you're saying, I would like this outcome. However, if there's something better out there that serves me better and serves others better, let's have it. So this to me is what divine right action means. And when we pray, sometimes if we don't know exactly what to pray for, what we'll actually say at the end of it is the highest good for me, the situation, for the person, because sometimes we don't know what the best thing is for anyone, including ourselves. So if you allow a mind that's greater than yours to come up with the perfect solution, then guess what? That's going to happen, because when you truly believe that there is a power greater than you are that can provide exactly what it is that's best for you or someone else or some situation, then that's going to happen. Because when you put the thought plus the feeling together, equate it with belief, and you believe that, then guess what? It's going to happen because you know there's a divine intelligence that will actually figure out, this is the best solution. Because how many times have you actually in your life decided to do something and then partway along as you're working through the problem or the issue, or whatever it is, you think, wait a minute, there's a better way than this. You've come up with a better solution yourself. So we don't always know what the best solution is when we start. So when you pray, you could say, in the affirmation, I move in reliance on the perfect guidance of God every day. I trust divine intelligence to present the clearest outcome for me. That's the key that she's talking about here. I trust divine intelligence to present the perfect outcome for me. And you could say, in whatever situation that is. So it's not really a difficult thing. For once, it's pretty simple. So when I first read Divine Rights Action, I thought, I don't know what she's going to talk about now, because I came in kind of the tail end of that, and I'm not really familiar with using the term divine rights action. Maybe some of my colleagues will be shocked about that, but I'm not. But I am very familiar with saying this or something better. I am perfectly at home with that, and that's what I learned. So you now found another way to pray. So in whichever way you pray, if in your mind you believe that the divine will work out the best solution, infinite intelligence will work out the best solution for that particular situation, then you're going to get a really good outcome. We often explain it this way, that when you allow infinite intelligence some flexibility, you can get outcomes that you never thought were possible. For instance, if you, and we've mentioned this many times, or I've mentioned it many times as well, if you pray and say, I want that specific house on that specific street, and I don't want any other, then there's major problems with that. Number, if it's not empty, then that's a big problem, because there's somebody in there and they may not want to move. Secondly, when you get in that house, you might say, well, it's not really what I wanted. I didn't think it's what I wanted. But if when you pray for a new house and you want one similar to that, in a similar situation to that, the perfect house, when you truly believe, is going to come along, and it will be the perfect house for you. And it may or may not be that one that you've been looking at. Same thing when it applies to mate, anything in life. So flexibility is the name of the game when we pray, but still believing that we're going to get a really good outcome. So that's it for today. As I said, there's still time to get out there and enjoy this weather, because of the time change now. It's really effectively only 4 o'clock on nature's time, on our non-daylight savings time. So there's still plenty of time to get out there. It's really nice weather. Go and get a little bit of vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D. What is it? Vitamin D, sorry, vitamin D. And I believe once it gets beyond like 4 o'clock, then technically the ultraviolet situation that can be really negative actually goes away, and it's pretty good. That's what I read. Is it true? I don't know. That's what I read. So but get out there, and you can always put sun lotion, cover yourself up. I've actually got a shirt, and I just noticed it yesterday when I was hanging it up. The shirt actually is designed for UV protection. It provides protection up to, I think, 50, something like that. I didn't realize that. So, and even though I've got a good thatch, it's usually a good idea to put something on your head as well. Reverend Lisa, she'll be back tomorrow, 9:15 on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page, and later on YouTube, I guess. And I will be back on all these channels that I broadcast on tomorrow. So I hope these messages are uplifting. Please give us a like, but also please share this. When you share it, it really spreads the message, and it helps the world become a better place. How about that? So until next time, namaste.